I was able to secure grant funding from 4 different sources. The total scheme cost was 1.7 million, but 1.4 of that would be for the cost of the infrastructure, which had to be done anyway. The 350,000 that it cost to install biomass boiler plant and gas boiler plant was all grant funded, didn't cost the council a bean. All the council had to pay for is what it would have had to pay for anyway, which was replacing all the infrastructure within the buildings in terms of pipework and radiators, stuff like that, which it would have had to have done whatever the final fuel was going to be it gas or anything else. The process of gaining grants is quite long-winded. It's not actually that difficult, but there's an awful lot of bureaucratic paperwork that has to be ploughed through, and it's quite time-consuming, and you don't get the answers back quickly as you would like. And so that tended to be quite a bit protracted, but it would have been on any scheme. But the fact that we got everything we asked for was quite encouraging and pleasing.
We got a 50,000 grant from EDF Energy Green Fund, which included 20,000 for an educational aspect, where we were willing to show the boiler house to people and open up to giving workshops and so on. There was the South East England Development Agency, because we anticipated that through the process we would be able to create some jobs, particularly with the wood chip supply. The Forestry Commission helped us to get a grant from the High Weald AONB, because they knew that there would be better woodland management through the use of wood chip. Then the suppliers, Wood Energy Limited, gave us a grant from the Bioenergy Lottery Fund, and we had a small amount from an organisation in London. Then the householders financed the rest, and we allocated according to the housing size and so on, how much share each person would pay. And some people couldn't pay it immediately, so we allowed them to pay it up over a period of time, which left us a shortfall, and the company managing the project then lent an amount from Triodos Bank to fill in the gap. I started phoning people and they said, yes, we can help, but also have you tried this person? So I rang that person, and that person said yes, but maybe you should also try this person. So it was like following a trail, and in the end we managed to get money from everybody that we applied to.
First thing we did was we commissioned an initial feasibility study for a wind turbine. We got funding from the Sustainable Development Fund to do that. But there probably wasn't that much enthusiasm within the group for doing it. In this village there's no gas, we all burn oil. So the biggest opportunity for saving carbon seemed to be to attack that. So that's where the district heating idea came in. And so once again we got money from the Sustainable Development Fund and did a feasibility study.
Okay, so the initial cost was 235,000, and that's investors' money, and we said that it would take about 15 years before we were probably in a position to be able to repay that. But in the meantime we'd pay interest out of the money we earn.
Settle Hydro is set up as an industrial and provident society. We raised money for the scheme through a combination of grants, a share issue and a bank loan, and it's roughly a third for each of those. We essentially have 2 customers, so we're selling the electricity to the grid via the co-op.
They pay us 5 pence per kilowatt. That's for 90% of the electricity we produce. The other 10% goes directly to the mill. The landlord of the mill pays us a full commercial rate for that electricity. He pays us 14 pence a kilowatt. On top of that, we will get 17.5 pence feed-in tariff for every kilowatt we produce.
We knew we wanted to develop renewable energy, and we knew we wanted a range of projects. The question was how to fund that. And when we started, there were no feed-in tariffs, and in fact they weren't even on the horizon. So we thought, could we combine the grants that were already available with raising money from the community through shares or whatever it would be, to make enough money to to build the renewables, and then get an income from selling the electricity and the renewables obligation certificates. The initial funding for these first projects, we've been very lucky to get Low Carbon Communities Challenge grant from the Department of Energy and Climate Change, and that was over £700,000, which is not available to all communities, and we're really grateful for that. It's allowed us to do a lot more of our pipeline of projects very quickly, so that we can test out the reinvestment model, what we really need to get back into low carbon West Oxford to make the best carbon returns. What we're thinking about for the future, obviously, is going beyond grant funding. Our idea was always that we wouldn't rely on public grant funding. We're doing this to get an income stream, and there are two elements to that. There's the payment that we get from the building owners for the electricity, and then there's the feed-in tariff. For this array, we'll get a feed-in tariff rate of 31.4 pence, which will give us an income of about £27,000 a year.